Another thing that we talked about recently that I sent you was this new AI ability, that AI has the ability to translate some of these ancient languages now, which is really interesting.
For centuries, it lay quiet, a silent truth, a part of history forgotten. No one had even come close to deciphering its meaning, and so it became the language no one could understand, until now. Man's intelligence has birthed a gift that just might reveal the mystery.
I think so far they're getting more out of languages that have already been translated. Whether AI could be deployed to decode the Indus Valley script, for example.
Recent breakthroughs in artificial intelligence have just begun decoding these ancient languages. They weren't just translations, they were revelations. And what they revealed may change everything. Ancient scrolls and documentation have been discovered by archaeologists over the years. Many believe that they hold the secrets of many civilizations, but there's only been one major problem. These ancient scrolls weren't written in the English language, nor were they written in any of the languages being spoken in the world right now. They were written in hidden languages, some of which have long gone into extinction, and others that were invented by the writer solely for the purpose of keeping their contents safe. And so, when these historians died, one would believe that their secrets died with them. Some of these ancient scrolls date as far back as the eruption of Mount Vesuvius in 79 AD, and now, over 2,000 years later, they are now being deciphered by artificial intelligence. But what these ancient scrolls revealed wasn't just history. They were warnings. What could these warnings have to do with us? More importantly, is it too late now? The language that defied even time itself. Across the world, artificial intelligence and machine learning are now being used to decode lost scripts and documentation made thousands of years ago. These scripts we once thought were gone forever are now being revived, and the messages they contain are not in the least bit comforting. We are going to have to reconnect with a part of our history that may be hard to accept. Some of these scrolls being decoded include the Dead Sea Scrolls. The Dead Sea Scrolls are a massive collection of ancient writings, primarily written in Hebrew. These scrolls are 972 in number and contain the oldest known copy of the Hebrew Bible. The only book that isn't included is Esther. Another ancient historical artifact being transcribed by AI is the Indus script. The Indus script is the earliest form of writing known in the Indian subcontinent and was developed by the Indus Valley civilization. It is also known as the Harappan script. Most documentation containing these symbols is extremely short, making it difficult to judge whether or not these symbols constituted a script used to record a language or perhaps even symbolized a writing system. Then, the Herculaneum Scrolls. These are ancient texts discovered in the ruins of Herculaneum, containing significant philosophical works. These scrolls represent the only intact library from antiquity. And lastly, the mystery of Linear B. Linear B is an ancient script used for writing Mycenaean Greek, primarily from the 15th to the 12th centuries BCE. This script exposes the administrative and economic aspects of the Mycenaean civilization and was predominantly utilized for record-keeping in palatial contexts for the rich and influential. These scrolls represent the missing aspects of our history, making them extremely important. And these languages didn't just disappear, they were concealed by the ancient historians. Why would they hide historical documents? Could they have been trying to protect us or themselves? Let's find out. The AI that spoke the dead's tongue. Across the world, ancient pieces written in strange languages have been found inscribed in scrolls, carved or painted on surfaces ranging from the walls of a pyramid, on rocks, and on bone, down to clay slates, gold, and even woven fabrics. but their meanings have remained concealed, unreadable by modern archaeologists and scientists. And so scholars refer to them as the lost scrolls, not because we do not know that they exist or have access to them, but because they simply cannot be read. But what happens when AI finally reveals the truth we've all been waiting for? In today's modern world, one might easily forget the past and wonder why we even need to know what is contained in these scrolls. However, ancient civilizations have captured so much knowledge in these relics that scientists realize the importance of deciphering it. Perhaps we may learn a few lessons from the wise philosophers who could invent their own language in order to hide the secrets that lay within the scrolls. As the saying goes, those who fail to learn from history are doomed to repeat it. These ancient scrolls and scripts have left a great reserve of untapped knowledge waiting for us to explore. But then they were virtually unreadable. But then, with the recent upgrades in artificial intelligence, AI has become not just a tool for the future. It is a key to unlocking the deep mysteries of the past and is helping archaeologists decode ancient languages. Recent advancements in artificial intelligence have opened new avenues for decoding these ancient mysteries. How, you might ask? You see, researchers at renowned institutions like MIT and Google have developed AI models capable of analyzing and interpreting ancient scripts. Artificial intelligence follows a practical approach in translating these languages. First, it carries out pattern recognition. The AI examines the script, identifying patterns and recurring symbols. This process is almost similar to how a linguist would look for commonalities, but this time at a much faster rate. By comparing the unknown script with known languages, the AI can make educated guesses about the structure and meaning of the symbols. This involves a complex understanding of linguistic principles, which the AI has been trained to recognize. And using its analysis, the AI reconstructs possible meanings and pronunciations. This is not the final stage, but it is a critical first step in understanding the script. One language that AI has helped in decoding is the lost language of Linear B. This ancient Greek script, deciphered in the mid-20th century, is now being re-examined using AI to find deeper meanings and nuances that had been missed previously. This AI method has proven to reveal shocking new results about the Mycenaean civilization because of its ability to detect subtle patterns in the script. What's even more amazing, the implications of this technology extend beyond mere translation. By unlocking ancient languages, we gain access to historical records, cultural stories, and scientific knowledge that has been lost to time. Another technique being used in the translation of these ancient symbols and patterns is neural network modeling. It mimics the way the human brain processes information. What this means is that the AI is given thousands of images or symbol strings to study until it starts recognizing patterns. AI's role in decoding these ancient languages is a testament to its versatility and power. It bridges the gap between cutting-edge technology and historical knowledge, opening new pathways for discovery and understanding. These tools have already revolutionized our understanding of these ancient and unknown languages. For example, the 2021 discovery that the Dead Sea Scrolls are the work of two different scribes, not just one person. The hidden warning we were never meant to hear. For nearly 80 years, scholars have debated the origins of the Dead Sea Scrolls, relying on expert interpretations of ancient handwriting styles that often don't even agree with each other. Now, a new artificial intelligence system is offering more than just guesswork. With a more objective approach, AI gives us results that challenge the long-standing assumptions about when these texts were written. These findings could influence not only how historians understand the timeline of early Judaism, but also the context in which some of its most important religious writings emerged. Researchers at the University of Groningen's Qumran Institute developed an AI program called Enoch that combines radiocarbon dating with computer-based handwriting analysis to estimate the age of ancient manuscripts. When the system was applied to 135 previously undated fragments of the Dead Sea Scrolls, it consistently produced earlier dates than the previously used traditional paleographic methods, suggesting that some scrolls may be decades older than scholars once believed. A study, published in PLOS I, even suggested that some religious texts and the movements behind them could have emerged earlier than previously thought. For example, scrolls that had been estimated to date to around 50 BCE may have actually been written as early as 150 BCE, offering new insights into the evolution of religious communities during a pivotal time in ancient Judea. But a question that needs to be answered is, why did AI have to come in? Well, traditional paleography, the study of ancient handwriting, is well known to be highly subjective, giving rise to a problem of different interpretations of the same manuscript. To address this, scientists and researchers developed the first AI system trained to learn from both physical evidence and visual handwriting patterns. And they named the program Enoch, after the ancient Jewish figure associated with wisdom and knowledge. The researchers started by scanning the radiocarbon dating of 30 manuscript samples using advanced chemical treatments that removed contaminants. Of those, only 24 yielded reliable dates, which were then used to train the AI. What did Enoch reveal about the Dead Sea Scrolls? Enoch scanned 135 previously undated scrolls, but what was most shocking was that when Enoch analyzed these scrolls, they only aligned with ancient analysis by 79%. According to researchers, the match rate was highly unlikely to have occurred by chance alone. While most scholars had previously believed the scrolls were copied by a single scribe around the 2nd century BCE, others suggested that it was the work of 2 scribes who each wrote half the text, one after the other, in a chronological manner. They believed that one person started writing the scrolls, and then along the way, for some reason, he couldn't continue, and so the other took over writing the scrolls. However, the AI system, Enoch, also revealed that 2 distinct handwriting styles, Hasmonean and Herodian, most likely coexisted for longer than experts once believed. This challenges the idea that one handwriting started the scrolls, and then, along the line, it was replaced by another. In order to find out the truth of these ancient writers, scientists would try to find a smoking gun in the handwriting, something to give away the truth. For example, a very specific trait in a letter would identify a scribe, said Mladen Popovic, director of the University of Groningen's Qumran Institute, which is dedicated to the study of the Dead Sea Scrolls. But then again, one person's handwriting could look different due to several factors. A single scribe's writing could have some natural variation across the text, which could be caused by fatigue, injury, or even a change in writing implements. Also, analyzing these variations by traditional paleographic methods is impractical for a text as lengthy as the Dead Sea Scrolls. A lot of mistakes could occur, as these scientists are not infallible. To further make deciphering ancient languages easier, an artificial neural network is used to separate the inked letters from the parchment on images of the scroll. The team used a Kohonen network, a type of unsupervised learning model trained to collect multiple examples of the same characters in the text. The group ran the neural networks using CUDA and NVIDIA GPUs in the university's Peregrine high-performance computing cluster, which includes over 200 CUDA cores. To help check the accuracy of their results, the researchers even added extra noise for neural machine translation to the data and found that AI analysis still came to the same conclusion. They also created heat maps that averaged how individual characters appeared in the first and second halves of the scroll. helping scholars visualize the difference between the sections. The researchers plan to apply this methodology to additional parchments that make up the Dead Sea Scrolls. "We are now able to identify different scribes," said Popovich. "We will never know their names. But after 70 years of study, this feels as if we can finally shake hands with them through their handwriting." Discovered in the mid-20th century, the Dead Sea Scrolls were among the oldest surviving copies of the Hebrew Bible and provide critical context for the development of Judaism and early Christianity. Artificial intelligence is now opening a new chapter in manuscript studies, offering fresh perspectives on these texts that shape the religious and cultural foundations of the modern world. The scrolls that survived fire. Another one of the world's oldest scrolls is the Herculaneum Scroll. Dating back 2 millennia, originating from the lost Roman city of Herculaneum, it has long been considered unreadable because of the devastating eruption of Mount Vesuvius in 79 CE. But it has yielded the first decipherable words thanks to artificial intelligence. Found by a farm worker in the 18th century, the scrolls are named after the place where they were buried, Herculaneum, an ancient Roman town to the south of Pompeii that was also destroyed by the blast. All previous attempts to unlock their secrets have failed because most of the scrolls immediately turned into carbonized ash and broke into pieces when they were touched. However, a number of them were painstakingly unrolled by a monk over several decades ago and found to contain philosophical texts written in Greek.
For nearly 2,000 years, the charred papyrus scrolls found in Herculaneum have been indecipherable. They were burnt and buried under layers of volcanic ash following the eruption of Mount Vesuvius in 79 AD.
For centuries, academics have worried that these texts, believed to contain philosophical works of antiquity, would forever be unreadable. Until now, the only way we have had to read what's inside the Herculaneum scrolls is to put together the thousands of pieces of the ones that crumbled apart. Richard Janko, a distinguished professor of classical studies at the University of Michigan, stated, "By employing artificial intelligence, AI, and advanced X-ray imaging techniques, scientists have been able to virtually unroll the fragile papyrus and reveal lost words in ancient Greek." The breakthrough came after a global competition was launched to accelerate the reading of the texts. The Vesuvius Challenge offered $1 million in prizes to anyone who could solve the problem and find a way to read the remaining 270 closed scrolls, most of which are preserved in a library in Naples, which is around 8 miles west of Herculaneum. The charred scroll, known as Ferc 172, is among many unearthed at the Herculaneum ruins. Nevertheless, through a collaborative effort between archaeologists, academics, computer scientists, and engineers, great strides have been achieved. Using a synchrotron, a particle accelerator that produces powerful X-rays, scientists scanned the scroll to create a 3D reconstruction. The AI algorithms, developed as part of the Vesuvius Challenge competition, were then used to analyze the scans to detect ink hidden within the papyrus layers. This scroll contains more recoverable text than we have ever seen in a scanned Herculaneum scroll, said Dr. Brent Seals, a co-founder of the Vesuvius Challenge and principal investigator of the EDUS Lab at the University of Kentucky. Among the first words deciphered from Ferc 172 are words which in English translation mean foolish, disgust, fear, and life. All of these words suggest that the scroll could be a work of the philosopher and poet Philodemus of Gadara, one of the leading Epicureans of the 1st century before the Common Era. According to scholars, this hypothesis is corroborated by the writing style, which coincides with other texts attributed to Philodemus, and by the thematic use of the word foolish, characteristic of his writings. The findings have sparked excitement in the academic world. It's an incredible moment in history as librarians, computer scientists, and scholars of the classical period are collaborating to see the unseen, said Richard Ovenden, head of gardens, libraries, and museums at the University of Oxford. The astonishing strides forward made with imaging and AI are enabling us to look inside scrolls that have not been read for almost 2,000 years. The story behind Firk. 172 is almost as interesting as its text. Excavated from the ruins of a grand Roman villa, believed to have belonged to Julius Caesar's father-in-law in the 1750s. The scroll was gifted in the early 19th century by King Ferdinand IV of Naples and Sicily to the soon-to-be King George IV of the United Kingdom. Reportedly, the exchange included a peculiar trade. King George received several scrolls in return for a shipment of kangaroos. Now, while the latest discoveries from Firk, 172 marks a step forward, there is still much more to be done. AI technology has its own limitations. It can recognize ink, but does not fully recognize letters or interpret language, needing human experts to manually piece together the text and interpret its meaning. The future with AI. Despite its limitations, AI is doing what historians once did, preserving the record by using the latest AI technology built on the powerful learning model known as transformer architecture. AI researchers and engineers have begun developing a multilingual neural machine translation system, otherwise known as MNMT, to decipher ancient texts. These systems can even train on 3 languages at once, and when full translations don't exist, AI fills in the gaps, drawing on pattern recognition across massive datasets. What would take scholars decades to translate is now being decoded in seconds. We are decoding texts that, for decades, scholars spent their lives chipping away at, only to be met with impossible obstacles, overwhelming cost, decades-long timelines, and the sheer weight of being unable to decode our history. AI is not perfect, but it's fast, relentless, and self-learning. It is learning to speak forgotten languages. And in doing so, it's rebirthing our ancient past, giving us a once-in-a-lifetime insight into our history. Using the latest deep learning machines built on this ancient code, these AI systems contain linguistic data spanning from Hebrew, Arabic, and other Semitic tongues to help predict missing lines, rebuild damaged texts, and spot the hidden meaning buried beneath patterns, bringing them back to be spoken in modern life. And as AI continues to evolve, we can look forward to uncovering even more secrets from our past, enriching our knowledge of human history and culture. In the end, we do not know how AI will continue to reveal the secrets of our past, bringing forgotten languages and their stories back to life. Because the truth is, we're only at the beginning. So, do you think AI could be telling us the truth? Or not? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. If you enjoyed this video, click on the next one on your screen.